to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's mine.
Okay. Which case is it?
A second.
Second? Any objection to moving that to the front? Since we have a respondent present, my name is Drew Smith. I'm the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate for the City of St. Cloud. My role here is to be an independent fact finder. We'll proceed today. I will hear the evidence presented by the city, and after the city is through with their case, you may ask any questions of the city witnesses you may have, and you can present to me any testimony and evidence you'd like me to receive. When I've received all the testimony and evidence, I'll enter a verbal order stating my findings and what my order is, and then that will be followed by a written order that you'll receive in the mail. Okay? And if everybody who's going to testify today will...
This is everything that he's been okay? So if you want to get up and talk, you can stand up
You'll
and
just
be sworn in.
raise your right hand, and you can stand or not stand, that's okay. But if you'll raise your right hand, I'll swear everybody in. Do you swear from the testimony you give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And our first case?
Case number 2019-2100, Doris Russo, owner, location of violation 1019 Georgia Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida. Violation St. Cloud Land Development Code, sections 3.3.1F and 13.3. Description of violation, failure to prohibit but rather allowed construction at this location prior to obtaining a permit.
Good afternoon, Melissa Howes, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of St. Cloud. I am presenting this case for the property located at 1019 Georgia Avenue. And at this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items: a copy of the notice of violation sent by regular mail, a copy of the notice of violation sent by certified mail, a copy of the statement of violation notice of hearing sent by certified mail posted on the property and City Hall, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, affidavit of posting, evidence of mailings, the code sections in violation of, a copy of the deed to the property, and a copy of the cost incurred if the magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $203.70. The respondent is here and has been provided a copy as well of what I'm submitting.
Thank you.
On September 23, 2019, Code Enforcement received a complaint that the carport attached to the dwelling at this location was being closed in with no permit. I went out to this location and verified that construction had already started closing in the carport and no permit had been applied for. This is the second time that the construction had started on closing in this carport without a permit. The first time was back in on May 9th, 2018, the owner was cited and removed all the construction, putting the property into compliance. I also noticed while I was there were several mattresses leaning up against the fence and other miscellaneous items that needed to be cleaned up. So I took 4 photographs while I was there. That's the side of the carport. It's a little bit better view without the trees, and there's the front. On September 24, 2019, I sent out a notice of violation to the owner of record to obtain a permit for the construction within 5 working days and clean up the debris in the yard within 10 working days. On October the 3rd, I checked the permit records, and the permit was submitted for framing in the existing carport on October the 1st. I put the case off for a week to go through the approval process through the building department. On October the 10th, I checked the permit records, and the permit was denied on October the 2nd for lack of information submitted with the permit. I also checked the property on the exterior areas, and the mattresses were gone. However, there was now a couch sitting in the front yard and other debris. On October 15th, I checked the permit records again, and the permit was still in the denied process status, and nothing else had been submitted. So the same day, October 15th, I sent out a notice of violation by certified mail to the owner of record, which was signed for on October 17th, giving the owner 7 working days to obtain the permit and additional 10 working days to clean up the yard. On October 28th, the permit had still not been obtained and was still in the denied status. I checked the property and the couch was gone and only a few items were up by the house. So on October 31st, 2019, I sent out a statement of violation and notice of hearing by certified mail for only the violation of obtaining the permit. I posted the property in City Hall with the notice. I did an affidavit of posting and took 4 more photos. I checked on November the 12th for the status of the permit, and the owner had submitted more information to the building department and was denied again on October the 30th. I checked on November 18th for today's hearing, and the permit had not been issued. On November 19th, I was in the area of this property and noticed that more work was being performed on the carport, so I stopped, and the people that were standing outside working advised me that the permit was obtained. I verified that the permit was obtained as of November 19th and is now in compliance. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in violation of starting construction on closing in an existing carport prior to obtaining a permit by the time specified. The city would also request that the cost incurred in bringing this case before the magistrate in the amount of $203.70 be paid within 7 days of the written order by the special magistrate. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Ma'am, do you have any questions for the code enforcement officer? Would you like to present any testimony to me?
I don't know what to say.
It's okay if you would come up to the microphone so that we can all hear you.
Nothing that she has said, is different from what it is. We had a family emergency on September, I can't remember, 16th, 19th, somewhere around there. 5 grandchildren that I take care of were taken away from DCF because my daughter-in-law is mentally not, she's not capacitated. She has a lot of, I don't know, she's bipolar, she's schizophrenic. This is her family background. So they didn't take them from me personally. They took them from her. But because she lives in the household, this was what they do, I guess. So we need the extra space because I have 3 granddaughters and 2 grandboys. They're all from the age of 7 to 14. So I needed the extra space to be able to get custody of the kids in my name to be able to bring them home. So therefore, why a lot of the debris was coming out is because my parents owned that house for 20 years. When Dad died, it's going to be 3 years in January, I had to sell my stuff and move in with my mom. So then the kids came along. Well, I've taken care of the 5 children the majority of the time. My son works all the time, but the mom is not capable of caring them for themselves unless I'm there. So therefore, we started the building so we can make that the girls' room because the house has 2 bedrooms. We were living in it, confined because we got a sofa couch, 3 twin beds in the rooms because my parents didn't have a big bed. They had twin beds. Long story short, and then the bunk beds that we had the girls in our office space. So that's why he started that. John, don't start the thing. Well, my son listens half the time, but he's always running on high gear. No, Mom, we got to get it done so you can get the inspection. wait till I get down there to get the permit. So I have been working on the permit. September 30th, I applied for the first permit after, I guess, the first notice that I got. It wasn't that I wasn't going to get down there to get the permit. I wasn't, and I'm sorry, I have a lot of, that I can't remember a lot of stuff, so I have to go. I got to slow down because I can't,
Okay, you can take your time.
you know. I have a lot of health issues that I'm trying to deal with myself, along with all this other stuff that I'm trying to deal with, you know. And anyways, long story short, I applied for the permit. I didn't want to get electrical outing because it's going to be a big expense. And I was just awarded a little bit of money from disability, and I didn't want to spend it on this money pit that I'm stuck with, you know, living in, needs a roof and needs it, you know. The plumbing's all messed up, and I'm having to take my little bit of money from leaving this town, moving away, to having to spend it on this money pit. That's what this house is. I hate it. But I can't live without doing this stuff because you can't have clogged plumbing. I can't have, you know, there's things that have to be done. And my dad didn't want to spend all his money on that. He would fix little things here and there, but of course, you know, he was 90-some years old, and I guess he didn't think that he needed to fix all this expensive stuff. And now who's got it? I got the issues. So I've been down. Joe, I guess, you know, I called down because I can't get down here all the time because I can't get Mom out. She's 88, so I can't be going out all the time with her. So I called down and talked to Alex. I've been in contact with him the whole time. So they emailed me what Joe had requested. So he had 4 questions. I took them down. I came down. I needed a new plan. He wanted, you know, there was different things he was asking. I answered all the questions. What did he want me to do then? This is what I had thought that I was going to do, but what did I need to do? So all this has just been one thing to another. Then he said, no, I needed the electric. He was out for 3 days sick, then it was the holiday, and it's just been like that. You know, I could only do things as best that I can, because some days I can't get off the couch because of my back and my medical issues and my breathing. Some days I just can't, you know, so some days I can work on it, some days I can't. So I did the best that I could to get to where we are today, which a lot has been done because a lot of people have come in to help. So all the furniture that they took pictures of and all that junk was stuff that's been in that house for 20 years. You know, what did I do? It's got to go. You know, we had the plumbing thing, they came. My dad had issues forever in that house with plumbing. My dad never had to pull a permit before, I don't know. He had his handyman's come out, they would do the jobs. So here I'm doing the same thing that my dad did for years, 7 times. My dad did this in an 18-year process with the issues with the plumbing, and then he sent me a letter that I had to get a permit for that. Well, I came, I got the permit. I didn't know I was supposed to have one because my dad never pulled one. I was the closest to my dad. I only lived a few blocks away from them. So I knew everything that was always going on. So I got the permit, we got it fixed. Joe came, you know, did what he had to do, passed that. But all the stuff that was in the house, you know, the couch she talked about, entertainment center you saw there, a lot of that stuff was ruined because water seeped into the house from the bathroom. So I threw everything out. And the trash man, I went out to see the trash man one day, and he said, if you just lay it all out here in the front, they'll come and pick it up with the thing. So we just put it in the truck and took it out to the dump. It was the easiest thing to do because it was too many things. I figured for them to take it, because it was the couch, there was 3 pieces of entertainment center. I don't even know. It was a lot of stuff. So with that said, you know, I lost my train of thought. Finished that. the guardian ad litem, is rushing me because people that have the children are teachers at their school, and it's very hard. They're not used to having 5 kids. They only have 2 of their own, not 7 in their household. So I'm trying to do everything the fastest that I can to get my kids back. So, Joe not being here, then I sent him the email with everything that he requested, because he says I have to have electrical. So we did again the plan, and I said to my daughter, I don't think this email went through because I got an alert. So then she came down Monday and turned that in, and then Alex said it's going to be ready for Tuesday, and that's where we're at. I don't know. That's just what I've done. I've done everything that I could in the time frame that I could. I know everybody works differently, and everybody has time and strength, but I don't have that. That's all.
Okay. Based on the evidence testimony received, I will find in favor of the city, and just for your understanding, the city today, what they presented, while they did have pictures of the junk and debris, or what was alleged to be junk and debris, that's not part of my order today. That's not part of the case that they presented. So I appreciate, and I'm sure they appreciate you taking care of that in the time allowed. I do find that the permit was not obtained within the time allowed. I recognize that you were working on it as quickly as you could, but I also have to observe the code of ordinances and the requirements there. Because, though, you did come into compliance before today, that's actually, as far as compliance, as far as curing the violation, you've already done that. So there's nothing more that she has to do at this point to cure the violation, is there? So just move forward in getting that work completed. The city has asked for me to order you to pay the city's administrative costs in the amount of $203.70, which I'm inclined to do because, again, they presented a valid case. They've asked for it to be paid within 7 days, though, and I wanted to ask you about the time frame. Is 7 days, is that something you can do, or do you need more time? Okay. Then that is my order. I do find in favor of the city. Find there was a violation. The violation was cured before today's hearing, and I do order the respondent to pay the administrative cost in the amount of $203.70 to be paid within 7 days of the date of my written order. As I mentioned in my opening, you'll receive in the mail a written order. The date that I signed that order is the date that 7 days starts ticking. The significance of the rest of my order, the finding of the violation, is that if this same violation happens again, they could treat it as a repeat violation, which means that I could impose fines when we're sitting here today, as opposed to giving you time to cure that violation. So it's very important. If you do any more work, and I used to live in unincorporated Seminole County, and there were all kinds of houses that had all kinds of work done to them without permits. Years ago, that was probably norm for a lot of jurisdictions. It is no longer the norm in any that I work for or am aware of, and I'm sure not for St. Cloud. So if you have any doubt at all, if you're doing work to that house, my strong suggestion to you is to contact the city and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do I need a permit? Because I don't think you want to have to come back in front of me again and go through this again. Okay?
Sir.
Okay?
I don't.
Well, that is my order, and I appreciate you coming, and the city appreciates the work that you've done.
Thank you. 1 second. Just for the record for Claudia, she is not Doris Rizzo. Doris Rizzo
Right.
is her mother. Okay, so
Yes.
you have her name.
I do not have her name.
Okay,
Susanna Haney.
okay.
Susana. My license is Rizzo, Rizzo, as middle, and last name Haney.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're done. You can
And
go.
where do I go to pay?
If you want to wait until after the meeting, you can
Okay.
get with Claudia, or
Okay.
you can come back, whatever you want to do.
No, let's take care of it because
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. We'll just have a seat. We got one more case.
Case number 2019-1948, Nathan Trainer and Samantha Trainer owners. Location of violation 2906 Jebediah Loop, St. Cloud, Florida. Violation, St. Cloud City Code Sections 24-52A. Description of violation, failure to prohibit but rather allowed an abandoned vehicle at this location.
Good
She
afternoon.
practiced that before everybody got here.
Did she?
Over and over and over again.
Good afternoon, Pam Neal, City of St. Cloud Code Enforcement Officer. I'm presenting this case for the property located at 2906 Jebediah Loop. At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items: a courtesy notice left at the door, copy of the notice of violation sent by regular mail, a copy of the notice of violation sent by certified mail, copy of the notice violation with the new date sent by regular mail and posted on the property and City Hall, copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail, posted on the property and City Hall, copy of the PowerPoint presentation, copy of the affidavits of postings, the notice of violation sent back returned to sender, the certified cards signed for, a copy of the deed to the property, copy of the code section in violation, copy of the cost incurred if the special magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $227.15.
Thank you.
On August 13th, 2019, I received a complaint about several basketball hoops in the right-of-way on this street. On August 13th, I went to verify. There was a basketball hoop in the right-of-way, and I also noticed an orange Honda SUV with an expired tag at this location. A courtesy notice was left at the door. On August 14th, a reinspection was made, and the basketball hoop was out of the right-of-way, but the SUV was still in the driveway with an expired tag. On August 27th, a reinspection was made, and SUV was still in violation with the expired tag. On August 28th, a notice violation was sent by regular mail. On September 16th, the reinspection was made, and the SUV still had an expired tag. I took 2 photos. On October 2nd, a reinspection was made. The SUV was still in violation. I took 2 more photos. On October 3rd, a notice violation with the new date was sent by regular mail and posted on the property in City Hall. An affidavit of posting was done. I took 2 photos. On October 17th, the reinspection was made. The SUV was still in violation with the expired tag. I took 2 more photos. On October 18th, a statement of violation, notice of hearing, was sent by certified mail and posted on the property and City Hall. I took 2 photos. On November 4th, a reinspection was made, and the property was now in compliance, and the vehicle was gone. And the respondent is not here today. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in violation of allowing an abandoned vehicle at this location. The city would like to also recover the costs incurred in bringing this case before the special magistrate in the amount of $227.15 to be paid within 7 days of the written order of the magistrate as well. And that concludes my presentation.
Based on the evidence testimony received, find in favor of the city, find that the respondent was in violation for allowing an abandoned vehicle to remain at the location, find that the violation was cured prior to today's hearing, but after the date set by code enforcement for cure of the violation, order the respondent to pay the administrative costs incurred by the city in the amount of $227.15, which amount shall be due 7 days from the date of my written order. I do have a question. It's more of a general question. I was weighing whether or not to ask you during the hearing or before I entered my order or after. You had plenty of evidence regardless of these photographs, but on 10/17, if you'll take a look at those pictures. I'm just curious on 10/17, I see the vehicle backed up to the garage. Where were you when you took the picture of the tag on 1017?
I had walked up to the door.
Okay. And you observed the license plate when you were at the door? And your
Yes, sir.
purpose for being at the door was?
To try to make contact, because she had not called me. She called me once when I first left the courtesy notice and yelled at me and hung up on me, and that's the last I'd heard from her.
I figured that was what you were going to tell me, and based on that, I find no problem with that evidence. I just wanted to take the opportunity at the Central Florida Code Enforcement Officers, whatever the thing is, I did a presentation 3 weeks ago on this exact issue. So it was fresh in my mind. I just thought I'd go through that to make sure that what I assumed was in fact the case in this case. So,
Okay, thank you.
anything further from the city? Sorry, I skipped over. You could have, is there no unfinished business and no new business? I didn't make you read those. Do you want me to? Okay. Our next meeting is when?
January 15th, 2020.
We are adjourned.